Hello viewers, this is a Dell Latitude CPx computer, and this is a pretty old machine. This is probably somewhere between 15 and 20 years old by now. I believe it would have originally come with Windows 98, and a lot of people would say that this is an obsolete computer, and there's definitely some tasks that you're not going to do on this machine, but I think these computers are plenty useful still. There are a number of everyday tasks like word processing, Excel spreadsheets, emails, and the calendar, things like that, which you can do on here without a problem. And I use computers like this all the time. I used to use them more often when the AOL software was still a thing. Ever since that got discontinued, I haven't found myself on these computers quite as much as I used to be. But I still really enjoy using these computers. I have, 7 or 8 older laptops like this, and I'm a big fan of classic computing. I much prefer a Windows 2000 or Windows XP over Windows 10 and all this stuff we have now. The same thing with the hardware as well. I always enjoy working on these older machines. And so I'll come on here and read my email and stuff on these computers. This particular machine, I don't know too much of the history behind it. It was given to me by my grandfather a number of years ago when I really started doing computer stuff as a hobby. And I've never done anything to it as far as repairs or upgrades. It's, as I received it, it's always worked very well. I think I reinstalled Windows on it at some point, but other than that, it's, as far as I know, it's all original. I actually have a lot of documentation for this computer somewhere. Let me go see if I can find it. I think it's in the closet. And here it is. I have a whole folder of stuff here that my grandfather put together when he was buying this machine. A lot of this has, personal information on it, so I can't show all of it, but there's some interesting stuff in here. I believe he printed out the Windows XP license agreement. We have this in physical form. Let me just make sure that there's no personal information on here. I do have a receipt here which shows some of the options that this computer came in. I also have a date of 11/21/2006, so that's probably around the time that this was purchased. I don't see any personal information on here, so I'll show this. Of course, you can pause the video and read that. I believe this is exactly what the computer is. I don't quite recall it having oh no, wait, that's 512. I'm not sure if this is what the computer is or if this is what it can be expanded to. Also got this here, which just shows a whole bunch of old network cards and stuff. I'm sure somebody will find that interesting. If there's interest in this documentation, I can certainly go through it and show what I can if it doesn't contain personal information. It looks like the rest of the stuff is for the Macintosh Performa computer that he had. Oh no, wait. Here we go. Oh, this is kind of comical. This was a ladybug mouse that my grandmother used to have. I'm not sure where that mouse is at. I gotta see if I can find that one of these days. We got a floppy disk in here, which I believe might have been for that mouse, the driver or something. There's some papers here. These are receipts. We can't show that. Chances are those credit cards are long expired by now, but still. Some memory options for the computer. That's from 2014. I guess he was looking at upgrading this relatively recently then. But anyways, that's what kind of documentation I have. I'm not sure if it's anything actually from Dell itself. Oh, here we go. We got disassembly manual. This may actually be the full-on manual for the computer in here. Well, anyways, so that's that. If the people want to see this documentation, I will do another video on it. But anyways, let's get into the computer. I'll start it up. Let's see here. We have a Belkin wireless card. I have all the original drivers and documentation. I may even have the box for that somewhere. This is the hard drive. It's a speaker. This has stereo speakers, I believe, one on either side. We have our audio in, audio out, and that, honestly, I don't know what that is. That's S-Video. That's an air register. Here we have the Fion. Okay. We have VGA. We have, I believe it's a printer serial thing. That's probably for a docking station. A singular USB port on this computer that may even be USB 1. PS2 mouse and keyboard and some type of a printer. Power, and then an infrared port. Let's see here. I'll very selectively show the bottom of it. Hopefully you can read that information. It does appear to have been refurbished, I suppose. That's the RAM thing. And then there's the hard drive bay. It currently has 2 batteries in it. One here and one here. I'm not sure what kind of batteries these are. So these are lithium batteries. I don't think they hold much charge anymore. Made in Japan, so they're probably good quality cells. They do actually hold some charge, which is kind of remarkable given their age. I do have the original CD, DVD drive floating around somewhere, but I don't really use CDs and DVDs that often, so I figure I'd rather have the extra batteries. So this is what it looks like inside. You can see we have the Pentium 3 processor by Intel, and Windows NT, Windows 98, Windows 2000. Pretty certain this has Windows XP on it. This is the power cord. Fairly certain it's the original one, or at least the one that was issued with it when it was refurbished. I'll go ahead and plug this in. I don't believe the batteries have any charge. They don't hold for more than a couple of days. Perhaps I should just take them out and only put them in there when I have the thing in use. But it's got one of these plugs. Plug this in, and the dog is making a whole bunch of noise. I want to capture the sound of this hard drive starting up. You got the battery charge indicator light. Then there's the power button. Powering on. And this is going to take a while because the batteries were completely out of charge. And I probably don't have the time on here. Yeah, I think the BIOS battery is long not working anymore. Probably should get that replaced. I'm not going to bother with this because I'm not going to bring on the network right now, so we're just going to go on with the incorrect time. The hard drive has an awesome sound to it. This has a mechanical keyboard. Of course, it's still, thinner than I would prefer it to be, but it's a lot nicer than what you find in the laptops of today. Oh dear, I got 35 unread mail messages. What is the password for this one? Looks like the date and time is set for 2003. So perhaps this is not as old as I thought it was. I mean, 2003 was still a long time ago in the world of technology, but it's not that old, I guess. And it looks like it's connected to the network despite the crazy time difference. So it looks like the drive activity has stopped. So I think we're largely ready to go. So let's see what we have on here. Let's look at what programs I got on here. So it looks like we have Adobe Flash Player 14. I don't know, that's probably old. We got AOL, which unfortunately is no longer of any use to us. We have the wireless card software, CCleaner, because the drive is pretty small. We have compatibility for Office 2007 and prior, which is the .docx. So even though this has Office 03, which is only compatible with the .doc, .xls, etc., you can still open and I believe even save in the .docx or XLSX or whatever files. So again, it's an old machine, but you can still use it for all that stuff, all the Microsoft Office programs. Learn 2 is part of AOL, Malwarebytes. Let's not show updates. The .NET framework. We got OneNote, Office Professional, Mozilla Fireballs, QuickTimes, that's part of AOL. This, I'm not sure what that is. Perhaps that's something, a different card I had in here at some point. Real Player, that's part of AOL. Skype, which I don't think works anymore. Viewpoint, that's also part of AOL. Internet Explorer 8. Windows Media Player, and of course Windows XP Service Pack 3. Let's see here, what else should we look at? Let's look at the specs here. This is a Pentium 3 at 647 megahertz with 384 megabytes of RAM. That's kind of an oddity. I must have a 256 and a... Huh? Oh, that's strange. I'm not really sure how we're getting 384 megabytes, but because if there was a 256 stick and a 128 stick, I guess that would somehow be 384. I don't know. That's weird. Not sure if we can see what version of USB this is. It's from 2001, so it looks like it's just a generic Microsoft driver. Does this even have Ethernet? No, this doesn't even have Ethernet on it. Looks to have an ESS sound driver, or a sound card rather. 1024 by 768. Let's see what kind of display adapter we have. We have an ATI Rage Mobility. See if we can find out how much memory that has. Whoops. Eight megabytes of RAM. Not very much. Let's open Words. I've worked on computers that were made last year that don't run this fast. And so I will stay with my previous statement that this computer is still plenty worthwhile. We got Clippy over here. I think that's what it's called. I think they got rid of that in any of the newer versions of Office. This actually has pretty decent audio to it. It goes quite loud. Open Words again. Look how fast that opens. Are we gonna get the thing here? There it is. think there were other ones that were on here as well. Okay, I'm not sure there's anything else on here that's worth looking at. I guess we can look at the network connection here. Alright, well, yeah. I guess we'll try going to a website. I don't know if the internet will work with the time being so off. Whoops. This Internet Explorer is so old that most of the websites have compatibility issues, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, alright, well, let's turn this off, and then we'll wrap up this video. Probably should turn the sound down before I turned it off. Thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe, and out.